Yeah, I just
Oh,
started.
so it started recording, yeah?
Yeah, it's recording.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, great. Yeah,
Okay, so I
go
will
ahead and
start
start.
greeting in Myanmar language for our fans. Okay.
Okay, great.
မင်္ဂလာပါရှုခန်း TV ရဲ့ interview season ကြိုဆိုလိုက်ပါတယ်ဒီတစ်ခါမှာဖိတ်ခေါ်ထားတဲ့သူကတော့ Riot Games ရဲ့ Southeast Asia Hong Kong Taiwan နဲ့ Macau region ရဲ့ General Manager ဖြစ်သူ Justin Hulot ဖြစ်ပါတယ်ကဲကျွန်တော်တို့ရဲ့ interview season လေးကိုစလိုက်ရအောင် Hello Justin I hope you're having a great day First of all I
Hi.
want to say that we are very excited to have you here interviewing about League of Legends Wild Rift So
Great.
can we start with first question is what type of game Wild Rift is, and what is the difference between Wild Rift and League of Legends PC version?
Wild Rift is a mobile MOBA. It's a 5v5 battle arena, basically, where players fight for control of a nexus, right? It's very, very similar to League of Legends PC. I think that the biggest difference, though, is that what we've done with Wild Rift is really tried to rebuild it from the ground up for mobile, right? So we actually took the basic core elements of the game, stripped it down, and then over the past few years, I've really been fine tuning it to really match and work on essentially the core mobile device.
Yeah, thank you. So, can you tell me how excited you were when Wild Rift was released in Southeast Asia region as beta?
I was so excited. Like I can't tell you how long I've been waiting to launch this video game. I kind of think that we first started seeing like a lot of the excitement around Wild Rift last year during our 10-year anniversary, which was L10. And it was a really, really exciting event for a lot of our players, both those who have really like loved League and who knew League on the PC side, but also for a lot of fans within the region that have been super, super excited about trying out a new mobile MOBA.
All right. So, can you tell me about Riot's vision for mobile MOBA?
I think that our vision is to bring a lot of the same things that make League PC so great to the mobile device, and ultimately we're really making this game for League players, right? We're making this game for people who have loved League, have loved the platform, but maybe just don't have as much time to play anymore because they're looking for different platforms and different experiences and don't have as much time, right? I think that the other thing that we're trying to do is to create a new audience for League of Legends, and to create a new space where people can be really, really excited and kind of have an opportunity to try it, especially for those who are native to the mobile platform.
Yeah, thank you. So, what's your
Can you give me
opinion?
one quick second, Hayne? I'm just gonna just give me one quick second, okay?
Yeah.
So. I'm sorry, I got interrupted.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
it's
back.
okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so what's your opinion about marketing in mobile gaming? As we all understand, there are a lot of mobile phone gamers. Uh, you know, what's your type of marketing that will make League of Legends Wild Rift stand out from the other mobile games?
I, I think that there's two sort of core differences. I think in terms of our approach to the game, and then maybe in terms of the way that we market. I think that the first and sort of biggest difference in terms of how we think about the game is that we're really focused on the long term, right? So we made this game with the idea that it'll be a game that will last for generations, right? And just as League PC has gone on for 10 years and has become, the preeminent MOBA and one of the preeminent sort of video games, especially in the esports space. Our goal is to make Wild Rift that game in the mobile space. I think on the marketing side, some of the things that I think are probably the biggest point of differentiation is that we really make an effort to listen, So our players are constantly commenting on things that we can be doing better. nerfs that they'd like to see to champions, features that they'd like to see in the game, and we actually take that feedback on a week-to-week basis, bubble it up to the developers, and make very different decisions based on what that feedback looks like. So I think that the two-way conversation in terms of our players giving us feedback, which helps us to change and recreate the game, is another like a sort of big approach and big difference in terms of how we think about how we build our game with our players.
Yeah. So, one another question is, why does Riot target Southeast Asia and Asia Pacific, since these regions got beta earlier than North America or Europe?
I think it's for a couple of reasons. So the first one is that when we do a closed beta, part of it is our ability to test and make sure that things are working. And that's a lot easier to do when folks are kind of in close geographical proximity together, right? So we focus primarily on APAC because a lot of the countries that we targeted were fairly close together, right? The other piece is that, the first place that we did the alpha was in the Philippines,
Yeah.
And so the Philippines, it sort of made sense to kind of expand beyond the Philippines to sort of the rest of APAC. And then the last thing I think is that like Southeast Asia in particular is a mobile first market. I'm from the Philippines. I am a mobile native. I love playing on mobile. And I think that most of the region is also very, very interested in mobile, right? I think that in terms of mobile connectivity, in terms of the number of mobile gamers, in terms of the number of handsets within Southeast Asia, in terms of the people who play mobile MOBAs, there's just so many people in Southeast Asia that are already playing the genre. And so it made sense for us to come here first.
Yeah. So, since it's already popular game in PC platform, is there any challenge that Wild Rift faces as a mobile game?
I think probably some of the sort of like it's very much based on the PC game, but there are some differences, right? So the mirroring of the lanes and the shift between Baron and Dragon Lane, for example, is a difference that may be difficult for PC players that are coming over to mobile. I also think that the other piece that's different is that when we port a champion over to, so when we take Garen and when we put Garen into the mobile game, right? The thing that's really important about Garen is that transferring him over to mobile is actually quite difficult, because we have to sort of adjust his skills, adjust his abilities, and sort of change the way that he works so that he works from a mobile perspective. Shyvana, for example, is one of my favorite characters. Shyvana as a champion in PC operates quite differently from the way that she does in the mobile game, and so that actually makes a pretty big difference in terms of like how champions work within Wild Rift versus PC. That said, overall, I think that it's a pretty kind of great experience. I'm personally kind of in the middle of my grind through ranked myself, and sort of part of the fun has been relearning all of these different mechanics in the game.
Yeah. So, will there be any opportunity for esports community in regarding the Wild Rift, for example, for pro gamers, streamers, and organizations?
So the short story is yes. The longer story, though, is that our focus right now is really on making sure that the launch goes well. Like we're actually still in the middle of kind of getting open beta up and running and making sure that there's enough sort of people that are kind of able to play the game and have access to the game and have all of that stuff. That said, like we're already in the middle of working through a number of esports plans. I actually met with the head of Riot's global esports team like last week to kind of talk about what some of our bigger plans for Wild Rift were. We've already started working with some event organizers to kickstart a few events, and we are already in talks with a lot of different people about like what it is that we want to see. I can't share a lot of details just yet. I don't want to sort of take away from like the thunder that's coming with both launch and also those other announcements, but I can tell you that we have a lot of really, really exciting things planned.
Okay. So, since as we all know that there will be the Panda Boom event in coming December 12th. Do you want to say anything about it? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that our show match is going to be really, really exciting. There's going to be 40 influencers and celebrities that are going to be participating from all over Southeast Asia. So folks from Cambodia, from Indonesia, from Malaysia, from the Philippines, where I'm from Myanmar, we have Ace Gaming, we have Gugu, we have Ice Ice, Original Matt Channel, NX Live. And I think it's going to be a really, really sort of like fun and exciting way to kind of see some of your favorite creators participate against some of the top content creators and influencers and celebrities throughout the region. The other thing is, as someone who has seen quite a few show matches, it's sometimes very fun when people come in at very different skill levels. Like actually, there was one show match from years ago where Cowsep was in the Philippines, and he was like this super elite Master Yi player, and just basically crushed all the other people that were in the competition. I don't think it's going to happen. There's a lot of folks here that come in at a very high skill cap. At the same time, I think seeing that game will be a really kind of fun way to experience Wild Rift and see it on screen for the first time.
So those matches, for those matches, well, will they be streamed and casted in Myanmar language too? And where can we watch them?
They will be streamed and casted in Burmese, and you can watch them on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Thank you. So, do you plan to do marketing widely in Myanmar too? Since we all know that there are events in Bangkok in previous weeks. So, will there be events like those in Myanmar too?
So our primary focus for now is to ensure that we deliver the best game experience to our markets over the next few months. That said, we're always looking for new ways to engage and excite players. I think the Pentaboom show match and engaging influencers from Myanmar is our first foray into that. Based on that, we're going to be looking at whether or not we could do other kinds of events, right? We recently did a honey fruit event in Thailand that was actually pretty successful. And it sort of depends on how the coming year looks and sort of what other kinds of activations we're able to see and how many, what our players want to see. I think that full disclosure, the pandemic has been sort of been a blocker in terms of some of our plans, right? There were some really awesome installations that we were planning all over Southeast Asia, which were halted because, frankly, like we couldn't get into different countries. However, we're hoping that next year there'll be sort of more freedom to travel back and forth and go see different things.
There are some rumors about there will be the specific server for China region. Because some gamers have complaints about matchmaking system. What do you want to say about it?
I think that is one So I told you a little bit earlier about how we are constantly listening to our players and responding to their feedback. And this is one of those things that we've heard very specifically, right? Specifically around matchmaking, around queue times, around the impact on latency, those kinds of things. Full disclosure, like we are in the middle now of testing a number of initiatives to kind of see whether or not those issues will subside. I can't share all of the details yet, but some of the things that we're doing are, for example, seeing whether or not we can increase the time that players spend in queue so that they're being match-made with people within their country. Looking at optimizing sort of performance and kind of moving people around. And we think that ultimately that will lead to sort of the better performance that our players want and expect.
So, okay. Another question is, KDA has been the popular music for the League of Legends gaming. So, will there be that kind of releases in the future regarding entertainment, specifically for the Southeast Asia region?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the last part? Specifically in...
Yeah, for Southeast Asia region, that kind of music releases.
So Southeast Asian music and sort of collaborations with different creators are already starting. We launched a Thai-specific collaboration called 555 that launched, I think, a couple of days ago. We're also looking at a new launch with Indonesia, which is another sort of music collaboration that we're looking at. And if those are successful, we'll look at expanding. KDA is personally one of my favorite lines, right?
Yeah.
I think that there's a bunch of new music that's also come out since the launch of More that's super, super exciting. And, it's very much dependent for us on what the player response is, right? Like KDA was something that started 2 years ago now, I think, right?
Yeah.
And it was very much an experiment in seeing whether this fantasy and line would appeal to our players. And players loved it. And part of the reason that we brought it back and have been creating new content is because players are just so excited to engage.
Yeah.
Like I personally love Seraphine. Seraphine is one of my favorite, not just sort of characters, but also like not just one of my favorite champions to play, but also just character from a lore perspective and the way that her rollout happened. And I think that experiment has proven to us that there's an appetite and an excitement for this kind of content, and so we'll be thinking about it more over the next couple of months and years.
Okay. So another question is, after Wild Rift, in the future, will Riot Games continue developing more mobile games in the future? For example, Valorant mobile version would be so dope.
Everyone asks us about Valorant Mobile. I cannot confirm or deny what it's going to come out, but I can tell you that it's definitely something that we are thinking about. I will also tell you that mobile is a very, very important platform for us, right? I think that I definitely think that there's a lot that we are doing in terms of thinking about mobile and thinking about new games and new pitches and new ways that people can experience games. I had mentioned before that I'm from the Philippines, and I had originally started working here in Southeast Asia and then went to LA to actually like spend some time with our development team to help progress sort of the understanding of how to make a mobile game.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that are important when you think about a mobile game. It's not just about sort of like the actual platform. It's about things like how do you make sure that things are optimized from a payments perspective? How do you make sure that the controls are optimized? How do you make sure that all these things are tight? And I can tell you that these things and Wild Rift, I think that Lore Mobile, I think that TFT Mobile, and I think all of our future releases have a sort of cross-platform perspective in mind, because that's where our players are, right? Our players are expecting a more seamless experience between console, mobile, and PC.
Okay. So, what do you want to say? Sorry. So, what do you want to say to Myanmar mobile gamers? Yeah.
I want to say I am so excited that you get the chance to play our game, and I hope that you enjoy Wild Rift. And I am really hoping that one day soon, when all of the craziness in the world subsides, that I will be able to come back to Myanmar and kind of get to see everyone playing the game and to sort of create experiences that are tailored for you guys. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. So we want to say thank you for joining interview with Sugar TV today. We wish the best for Riot Games and Wild Rift 2. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, we can stop it.
Okay, cool.
All right. Thank you so much.